You guys aren't going to believe this. There's a European truck out there with 770 horsepower that lets you cruise up grades where American rigs are downshifting like crazy and burning through diesel. Scania's 770 horsepower V8 beast is about to shake up the American trucking game. With insane power, next-level efficiency, and luxury cab comfort, this European giant could force U.S. manufacturers to step up or get left behind. But can Scania adapt to America's long-nose obsession and cutthroat market? Let's break it down. But before we jump in, click that subscribe button if you're into these insane machines that push what's possible in the trucking world. Alright, let's talk about this European truck maker that's about to shake up everything we know about American trucking. Scania isn't some random company. These guys are absolute legends in Europe, and they've built that rep by nailing something really hard to get right. Trucks that are powerful, efficient, and comfortable all at once. In Europe, Scania is basically trucking royalty. You go to any truck stop across the pond, and drivers will tell you that these rigs are the real deal. While American trucks are stuck choosing between power and efficiency, the Scania V8 770S says, why not both? That's why so many European fleets swear by them. These trucks work their tails off day in and day out. Now, the crown jewel of their lineup is this absolute beast, the 770 horsepower V8. But forget the numbers for a second. This isn't just about having the biggest engine on the spec sheet. What makes this thing special is how it delivers power. Picture yourself hauling 80,000 pounds up those steep Colorado passes, and instead of that white-knuckle downshifting struggle we're all used to, you're just cruising. The torque is just there, exactly when you need it. But man, the engine is just the start. Climb inside the Scania V8 770S's cab, and you'll think you took a wrong turn into a luxury car. The materials are top-notch. We're talking premium leather, real wood trim in some models, and seats that feel like they were custom-made for your back. The infotainment system is light years ahead of what we're used to in American trucks. When you're living on the road, that comfort isn't just nice to have, it's a game changer. Scania's whole philosophy boils down to this: build it tough, make it sip fuel, and treat the driver like they actually matter. Now, these aren't budget trucks by any stretch. They cost serious money up front. But the magic happens down the road when you're burning way less fuel, spending fewer days in the shop, and keeping your drivers happy instead of jumping to another company. The math just works out in your favor over the long haul. So when you wonder why these monsters aren't already tumbling down I-80 or climbing through the Rockies, remember this: they weren't built just to keep up with what trucks are doing today. They were built to completely change what we expect trucks to be capable of tomorrow. Pretty sick specs, right? But here's where things get really interesting with the American market. And hey, if you're digging this breakdown of European truck engineering, hit that subscribe button and bell icon so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos on these monster machines. Let's get real about the American trucking scene for a minute. It's not just a little different from Europe, it's a whole nother planet. And Scania needs to understand that before they even think about bringing their trucks over here. Now, first off, in America, it's all about that long hood. While Europeans are driving these compact cab-over trucks because their roads are tight and they have strict length limits, we've got these massive highways. Talk to any American trucker about their rig, and you'll hear pride in their voice. These trucks are their identity, their freedom on wheels, their home away from home. But the long-nose preference isn't just sentimental or about looks. There are solid practical reasons too. The ride is way better when you've got that long wheelbase. Every bump and crack in the pavement gets smoothed out more than in a cab-over. Plus, having that engine out in front instead of under your butt means less heat, less noise, and less vibration coming into the cab. After 11 hours behind the wheel, trust us, that stuff matters. Then there's maintenance. When something goes wrong on an American highway, and eventually something always does, you can just pop the hood and get to most of the engine components right there. With cab-overs, you're often tilting the entire cab forward, which is a whole production. When you're broken down in the middle of nowhere, being able to fix something quickly can save your delivery and your paycheck. The brand loyalty here is off the charts too. Guys who drive Peterbilts won't even look at a Freightliner. Kenworth drivers think their trucks are the only ones worth driving. But here's the thing, the game is changing. Diesel isn't getting any cheaper, and those emissions regs just keep getting tighter. Fleets are looking at their bottom line and realizing that maybe raw power and looking cool isn't enough anymore. When your profit margins are getting squeezed from every direction, suddenly fuel efficiency becomes sexy too. And let's not forget the sheer distances we cover here. European truckers might think a 300-mile haul is a long day. American truckers call that before lunch. We're regularly putting 2,500 to 3,000 miles on a truck in a single trip. That creates demands for reliability and efficiency that are on a whole different level. This is exactly where Scania could make their move. The market is changing in a way that plays to their strengths. The question isn't if America needs more efficient, driver-friendly trucks. We absolutely do. The real question is whether Scania can take their European magic and adapt it to fit American trucking culture and our unique needs. That's a trillion-dollar question right there. Now that we've got the lay of the land, let's pop the hood and check out the real star of the show. That absolute monster of a 770 horsepower V8 engine. Let's geek out on the Scania V8 770S's engine. This 16.4-liter beast isn't just powerful, it's smarter than your average diesel, with tech that saves fuel without sacrificing a single horsepower. The numbers alone are jaw-dropping. 770 horses is impressive, but in trucking, torque is king, and this beast pumps out a mind-blowing 3,700 Newton-meters of torque. For us Americans, that's about 2,730 pound-feet. And here's the kicker, it's available from just 1,000 RPM. Truckers know exactly what that means. Monster pulling power right when you need it most. Whether you're getting an 80,000-pound load moving from a dead stop, or you're halfway up a 6% grade. Now let's put that into perspective. Your typical American heavy-duty engines, your Cummins, your Detroit diesels, they're pushing somewhere between 1,650 and 2,050 pound-feet. Now this Scania is cranking out about 30% more grunt. That's not just a little improvement, that's a whole different league. But here's where it gets really interesting. Usually, when you hear about an engine with this kind of power, you'd expect it to guzzle fuel like there's no tomorrow. That's where Scania flips the script. Through some seriously advanced engineering, we're talking precision fuel injection that meters diesel down to a millisecond, combustion chambers shaped by computer modeling, and some of the smartest engine management software in the industry. They've created this paradox, an engine with more power that somehow burns less fuel. The tech in this engine is next level too. Their SCR, that selective catalytic reduction system, and variable geometry turbo are tuned to perfection. These aren't just bolted-on emissions components to meet regulations. They're integrated from the ground up to work in harmony with the engine. The result? Meeting the strictest emission standards without that performance penalty we've all come to expect from clean engines. Then there's reliability, the holy grail for any trucker. Scania built these engines with fewer moving parts than most competitors. Every component is over-engineered for durability. Some European operators report going 700,000 miles before their first major service interval. Not oil changes, we're talking major service. That's like driving from New York to LA and back 125 times before needing serious work. And somehow, this still blows our mind. This 770 horsepower monster is whisper quiet and smooth as silk. You can literally set a coin on edge on the engine at idle, and it won't fall over. The vibration dampening and noise insulation mean drivers aren't worn out after a long shift. When you put it all together, the raw power, the efficiency, the reliability, and the refinement, this isn't just a better engine. It's potentially a whole new standard for what American truckers could expect from their rigs. Imagine never again feeling that anxiety as you approach a steep grade. Never again watching your fuel gauge drop like a rock when you're pushing hard. That's the promise of this Scania V8. Now that engine is absolutely insane, but having European power isn't enough to win over American truckers. Scania would need to seriously rethink their design philosophy. If you're as fascinated by these engineering beasts as we are, click that subscribe button and hit that bell so you don't miss our upcoming videos. For Scania to really make it in America, they need to do something pretty radical. Create a long-nosed truck from scratch. And we're not just talking about slapping a longer hood on their European models and calling it a day. They need to completely rethink their approach. So what would an American Scania actually look like? Well, picture this. A bold, muscular hood stretching out in front, with Scania's distinctive grille design, but sized up. More imposing, more presence. That flowing into a spacious cab that keeps all that Swedish comfort inside. The longer wheelbase would make the already smooth-riding Scania even better on our sometimes rough highways. And you definitely need bigger fuel tanks. Those 300-gallon capacity monsters that let you run from Chicago to Denver without stopping. The hood would have to tilt forward just like American truckers expect, giving easy access to the engine. Everything inside that engine bay would need to be arranged with maintenance in mind, with filters and fluid checks positioned where you can get to them without being a contortionist. American mechanics have certain expectations about how trucks should be laid out, and Scania would need to respect that. Inside the cab is where Scania could really shine while still adapting to American preferences. Keep all that premium European luxury, the leather, the wood trim, the ergonomic design, but make it bigger. American drivers want space to move around, and the little things matter. Cup holders that can handle those massive truck stop sodas, plenty of power outlets for all our devices, storage compartments that can hold more than a sandwich and a candy bar. Now the sleeper would need a complete redesign. European sleepers are functional, but American long-haul drivers literally live in their trucks. We're talking full-size beds, not those narrow European bunks. Standing room so you're not hunched over when changing clothes. Refrigerators, microwaves, entertainment systems. Basically, a small apartment on wheels. Now we can't see Scania keeping their amazing digital dash, but they need to Americanize the layout a bit. Keep it intuitive for drivers who are used to a certain arrangement of switches and gauges. Their advanced driver assistance systems would be a huge selling point, but they'd need recalibration for our roads, our speed limits, and our driving culture. The wild card here is how this European-American hybrid design could actually change what American trucks look like going forward. Remember when Japanese cars first started gaining popularity here? They influenced American car design in ways nobody expected. Scania could do the exact same thing for trucks, bringing that European efficiency and aerodynamic thinking, but packaged in a way that speaks to American tastes. Oh, and don't forget customization. American truckers love to make their rigs their own. Chrome accessories, custom paint jobs, light packages that turn heads at truck stops. A Scania designed for America would need to be a platform that supports all this personalization. One of the first questions at truck shows would be, how easy is it to customize this thing? What we're talking about here isn't just a European truck with a longer hood. It would be a true American Scania, built from the ground up to work on our highways, fit our driving style, and appeal to our sense of what a proper truck should be. Now, it's a hell of a challenge, but if they could pull it off, they'd have something truly special. And that's a truck that brings the best of European engineering and American trucking tradition together in one package. Now, breaking into the American market would be brutal, even for a company with Scania's resources. Let's break down some of the challenges they'd face and how they might actually overcome them. Let's not sugarcoat this. Breaking into the American trucking market would be an absolute beast of a challenge, even for a heavyweight like Scania. But the potential payoff? Well, it could be massive. The biggest hurdle, hands down, is building a dealer and service network. Now in trucking, this is make-or-break territory. We don't care how amazing your truck is. If it breaks down in Wyoming and the nearest service center is 2 states away, that truck is worthless to a fleet or owner-operator. American truckers rely on being able to get parts and service practically anywhere. Companies like Freightliner and Peterbilt have spent decades building these networks. Hundreds of dealerships, thousands of service centers, and parts availability in every corner of the country. Scania would need to invest billions to build anything comparable. We're talking about facilities, training thousands of technicians on entirely new systems, stocking parts for every possible repair scenario, and establishing the relationships with fleets that keep them coming back. That's not something you do overnight, or even within a few years. Now, one smart play might be partnering with an existing network. Maybe they could approach a dealer group that's looking to expand their offerings, or even consider acquiring a smaller American truck manufacturer that already has infrastructure in place. Use that as their beachhead and gradually expand from there. Then there's the regulatory maze. Look, Scania builds incredible engines that meet European standards, but our EPA and DOT requirements are a whole different animal. The certification process here is brutal, time-consuming, crazy expensive, and incredibly detailed. Engines need to be tested under specific American conditions, emission systems have to be certified, and safety standards must be met. Now, this process alone could take years and millions of dollars. The manufacturing question is another one. Would they ship these trucks from Europe, paying tariffs and dealing with shipping costs? Or would they bite the bullet and build factories here in the States? Making them in America would create jobs, score political points, and probably save money in the long run. But we're talking about a multi-billion-dollar investment before the first truck even rolls off the line. Now, they could start with assembly operations using imported parts and gradually shift to full manufacturing as they gain market share. And then there's the price tag. Now, let's be real. Scania trucks aren't cheap. They're premium products in Europe, And they'd be premium products here too. American buyers, especially fleets, can be incredibly price sensitive. Many purchasing decisions come down to a few $1,000s on the initial cost, even if the lifetime operating expenses would be lower with a more expensive truck. Scania would need to make a compelling case that spending more upfront for their truck pays off down the road through fuel savings, less maintenance, and better reliability. But look, for all these challenges, the opportunities are just as massive. The American heavy-duty truck market is huge. We're talking over 200,000 units per year. Even if Scania captured just 5% of that, it would be a major victory and a significant boost to their global sales. The timing might actually be perfect too. With fuel prices doing what they've been doing and emissions regulations getting tighter every few years, fleets are more open than ever to alternatives that can save them money on operating costs. 5 or 10 years ago, the efficiency argument might have fallen on deaf ears. Today, it's becoming the leading factor in purchasing decisions for many fleets. Let's not forget the driver shortage either. Trucking companies are desperate to attract and keep good drivers. Having trucks that drivers actually prefer to drive, more comfortable, quieter, more features, well, that could be a massive recruiting advantage. And for owner-operators, there's definitely a cool factor to being the first kid on the block with something different. I mean, just imagine pulling into a truck stop with the only Scania in a sea of Peterbilts and Kenworths. You'd have drivers lined up to check it out. For truckers who see their rig as an extension of themselves, being unique has some real value. Yes, the challenges are huge, but Scania has the resources, the expertise, and the product to potentially overcome them. So with the right strategy and a lot of patience, they could establish themselves as a legitimate player in the American market over time. Now, we want to share some mind-blowing facts about Scania trucks that would seriously impress American truckers once they get to know these machines. Let's hit you with some quick Scania facts that'll blow your mind. Their 770 horsepower V8 went through 5 million hours of testing. Now that's like 570 years of continuous running. In Europe, these trucks regularly hit 10 miles per gallon fully loaded, when most American rigs struggle to reach 7 miles per gallon. Scania has some serious racing heritage too, competing in European truck races where these 5-ton beasts hit 100 miles per hour on tracks. Their modular design means parts work across different models, making maintenance a breeze. On durability, these engines regularly hit 1 to 2 million miles before needing major work. One Swedish fleet manager showed us a 12-year-old Scania with 1.8 million miles that still pulls like new. That's some serious return on investment right there. And those capabilities are flat out amazing. But we're even more excited about what a Scania-influenced future could mean for American trucking. Let's take a look at how the entire industry could change. Imagine Scania successfully enters the US market with that 770 horsepower beast in the long-nose design. The impact would go way beyond just adding another brand to the mix. American manufacturers would have to step up their game immediately. When fleet owners start seeing their competitors saving $20,000 plus per truck annually in fuel costs, they'll demand the same efficiency from domestic brands. This competition would accelerate innovation across the board, benefiting every trucking company, regardless of what brand they run. Driver comfort would also get a serious upgrade too. Once drivers experience Scania's premium cabs, plastic interiors and basic amenities won't cut it anymore. With the driver shortage hitting fleets hard, trucks that are actually enjoyable to live in could help attract new people to the profession and keep experienced drivers from retiring early. The tech revolution would follow quickly. Scania's driver assistance systems and connectivity features are generations ahead of most American offerings. This technology would quickly shift from luxury to industry standard once it proves its worth in real-world American conditions. Maintenance practices would transform as well. Instead of service every 15,000 to 20,000 miles, Scania's approach could push intervals to 40,000 to 50,000 miles, meaning less downtime and completely different maintenance economics. The competitive landscape would be disrupted in ways we haven't seen in decades. The Big Three would face a European contender with genuinely superior technology, leading to better products, more competitive pricing, and more options for buyers. Environmental standards would rise too. Scania's expertise in meeting strict emissions requirements while maintaining performance could show it's possible to be both clean and powerful, something American manufacturers have struggled with. Now down the road, Scania's experience with alternative fuels and electric powertrains could give them a huge advantage as America inevitably moves in that direction. Now the American trucking industry is at a crossroads, and Scania's entry could kickstart a transformation that benefits everyone from major fleets to individual owner-operators. So, what do you think? Would you rather stick with a traditional American rig or take a chance on this European powerhouse? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button and subscribe for our upcoming comparison of the most powerful American trucks versus these European beasts.